I think we're now live. Welcome to my channel. This is Jason Cappuccino, Sashes&Scripts, and this is our weekly live stream that I've promised since the start of our Miss Earth coverage. Now, because there's so much issues and happenings going on with pageantry in the last few days, I decided that for our live stream this evening, or this afternoon actually, we are going to cover several topics outside of the Miss Earth pageant. But the bulk of the discussions is going to be on the Miss Earth updates, because I've listed, several points that needs to be tackled before we continue on with the other issues and updates in pageantry. Now, so before we start, hello and welcome back to my channel, everyone. I've seen here, Rodvin Fiel is here. Thank you very much for joining. Comment down in the chat box below if there's if you want, you want some greetings, you have some thoughts during our live stream. Okay. Brownie Pinoy is here. Sabi niya, aloha from Hawaii. Welcome to the live stream. I think that this is the first time that I am doing a live stream on a Sunday after the Miss Universe na pageant. So medyo off time tayo ngayon. Medyo inagahan ko because based on the poll that I had on Instagram, actually the ones that had the highest na votes is actually those who voted for the 5 p.m. Na schedule. Okay, so now that everyone's here, I just wanted to say something muna with regards to our live stream discussion. Mamaya na natin pag-usapan yung poll. Unahin na muna natin yung flow of the live stream in this evening. Kasi there are several topics that I want to talk about. I want to talk about the Miss Earth updates. Medyo mahaba-haba din yung mga sasabihin natin on those aspects. We also have something to discuss with the recent events, the recent results of the Miss Venezuela 2023 na pageant and the results of the winners. And then we're going to be talking about the lawsuit, the counter lawsuit actually, that JKN had posted on their social media channels, counter-suing TCG social media group, the one that accused them for defamation and I think libel. And then after that, we will discuss some other smaller news that is populating our feed as of this moment. Okay, and the reason also that I'm making this a little bit earlier, it's because later this evening I have to prepare for something else. So abangan nyo na lang kung ano yung something else na yon. And for those who are actually members of my Instagram channel broadcast, I have posted there a link to a chichi. Ayan, with regards to two very opposing personalities ng isang very prominent na pageant. Okay, so for those who are here, I can post the link in a little bit on the chat box section for you to be able to check it out a little bit later. Okay, now as usual, we have a poll for this evening. Doon sa chat box, doon sa pinakataas na section, you can see a question asking everyone if are you happy with the are you happy and satisfied pala with the ongoing proceedings at Miss Earth in Vietnam? And you have three options. First is yes, you're both happy and satisfied. The second option is happy but needs a little bit something more, kaya medyo happy but not yet satisfied. And the third option is not happy at all. Okay, so Currently, there are some of you who have already joined in, and currently, 100% happy and satisfied kayong lahat. Okay, so that's good to hear. We will be this poll is going to be open up until the end of the live stream, and then after then, saka natin ilalahad kung ano yung pulso ng bawat isa sa inyo. Okay? Okay. Let's go to some comment section before we start actually the live stream topics that I wanted to discuss. Okay, so ask me Rodvin Fiel. Legit po ba yung post about the final stage ng Miss Earth? If so, ang promising niya. Regarding Miss You, abang-abang lang ako sa mga mangyayari while eating popcorn. Okay. Actually, the one with Miss Earth, they're actually the one who posted it. It's actually part of my my updates in this live stream, and sige, umpisahan na natin with the Miss Earth stage. The Miss Earth stage is actually posted by Miss Earth in their Facebook channel, and actually initially when I first saw it, that was when it was posted on IG, I was a bit skeptical because it looks too glossy. It looks way too it looks way too glamorous for Miss Earth, because we're not used to having like a huge stage with huge LED screens in the previous staging of the pageant. In fact, doon sa mga ibang nakalakihan ng Miss Earth, doon sa Versailles na palace, madalas ginagawa ang Miss Earth in the early 2010s, and madalas they make use of the architecture nung space for the staging of the pageant. This is the first time that I actually am very much impressed, aside from the aside from the staging last year in MOA, because in the previous years prior to that, against the light yung setup ng stage ng Miss Earth sa MOA, kaya there is always like it looks dark even if it's not, because it's set in a backdrop where the light is coming from behind. This time around, it looks like very well lit yung space. It looks very glossy, very huge. I like that there are like around 5 or 7 yata na large LED screens throughout the stage. And although I was skeptical at first, I double-checked yung yung nakapost sa mga social media na mga pages, pageant pages, and it was actually legit. It was then that I decided to post it earlier this morning, hoping to gather additional information on the stage itself. However, based on the posting ng Miss Earth, parang they're keeping us anticipating for more, because they just said that these are the stages of the Miss Earth in Vietnam on December 22nd. So it felt like this is just a teaser, and probably as the pageant comes nearer to its close, that's when we get more updates with regards doon sa actual na stage, kung gaano kalaki, gaano karami yung ilaw, ilang palapag ng hagdan yung kinakailangan na lakarin ng mga candidates later on, and more details, especially because there's someone actually who mentioned that it looks like it's not very sustainable yung stage because there's so much lights, and it did not necessarily specify if the venue is using LED lights throughout the entire stage. So we need to get to know more about that, maybe a little closer towards the finals later on. Okay? So there, Rodvin. As for the Miss Universe na question mo, I will be discussing that a little bit later on. kung ano ang nangyayari. Okay? Monette Lu is here. Sabi niya, I really love your vlog. You're intelligent and smart, watching from Los Angeles, California. Thank you, Monette. I am trying. I do try to give, something that is not being offered by other vloggers. I try to make the discussions, the topics rather, intelligent topics. I try to make sure that I stimulate everyone's brains with the discussions by offering different kinds of perspective on pageant issues and updates. I also try that to make it as entertaining as I can. I'm not a jokester. I'm not an entertainer by profession, but I do try to listen to feedback. Okay. Nasa na ba Travel Junkie is here. Hello, Sir Jason. Late me. Travel Junkie, actually hindi. Kakaumpisa pa lang natin. We just started like around 10 minutes ago, so you haven't missed much. Kamustahan and some Miss Earth updates ang nangyari nung wala ka pa. So, that's just one point that I wanted to discuss with regards to the Miss Earth updates because I still have like 4 more na gusto kong i-discuss with regards to Miss Earth in this live stream. Where? Okay. Brownie Pinoy says, hello Brownie Pinoy. The ME stage is shining, shimmering, splendid. I'm excited to see how it will look during the finals. I am too. I am actually very much invested with Miss Earth this year for no particular reason. I just felt that with Miss Earth, there's a lot of welcoming that is happening behind the scenes. And let me explain that. Earlier this November, the Miss Earth organization actually reached out to a lot of vloggers, a lot of pageant content creators on Instagram and in Facebook. And what they did was, there are a series of Miss Earth activities that are online. These challenges are presented to the girls so that they are able to, 1, get to know these candidates better. 2, they can talk about the trees that they are advocating for this year's theme, and allow people to understand better about all of these different trees from different countries. And then 3, they ask them to impart to a wider audience something about their personality, their advocacy, and their culture. So I think overall, what Miss Earth did for this season is that since not a lot of vloggers can travel to Vietnam, I actually wanted to travel. I had plans to travel to Vietnam. However, when they pushed the date from the 16th of December to 22nd, that's too close, cutting it too close to Christmas, and I wanted to go home to the provinces. So that would take me a very long, arduous travel from Vietnam to Manila and Manila to the north. So I opted out. So instead of Philippine vloggers and content creators traveling to Vietnam and getting to know more about the culture of each of the girls, what the Miss Earth organization was to invite us actually, and partake with their online challenges, their video challenges that are posted on Facebook. And what we do in that space is that we evaluate the girls on certain challenges. Like for my end, I was part of the Tree Talk. Other vloggers that I am familiar with are spread out on their culture videos, on their introduction videos, and in their tourism or ecotourism videos. So there's a lot of different, challenges on the girls that they are able to allow us to get more insights on who the girls are, what they are advocating for, and generally get a glimpse of their backgrounds. So I think that is a very smart move of the Miss Earth organization, because they know that the ones that actually builds the community is not actually the traditional media. It's not your newspapers, it's not your radios, it's not your TV programs that build the pageant community. It's actually the influencers, vloggers, the content creators on different social media platforms. And this is why if you go to Facebook, there are a lot of Earthling pages and Earthling groups, Miss Earth fan pages and groups that are very active in the promotion of the pageant. And I think that is a very smart move for the Miss Earth organization, Carousel Productions, because they know that they wanted to create a strong pageant community online. They have to involve the content creators who actually are in, have immediate touch points with the pageant communities. And I think that is a very smart way of building community. And with Miss Earth and Carousel Productions having done that, I think there is now a understanding for pageant vloggers, content creators, that they can create content even if they're not there on the ground for the Miss Earth activities in Vietnam. And this is where I think there is a balance of online activities and on-site activities that we can talk about. Because currently, in terms of the activities of the Miss Earth, there is both, the glamorous factor, and then there is also the more very Miss Earth activities that they're doing currently. Now, like for example, we all know that they had their preliminary evening gown competition during the welcoming event. They also had a sashing ceremony. And then they also have several activities like tree planting. And then they also have a special talk in one of the universities as part of their activities earlier today. So each activity actually ticks off something with regards to the Miss Earth's brand. We wanted that the Miss Earth will be a little bit more glitz and glam in terms of their activities, and the Vietnam hosting teams giving that. They have a swimsuit photo shoot, they have an evening gown photo shoot, and we've seen snippets of reels in terms of the photo shoot, what's going on, what went on during the photo shoots, being scattered in different social media pages, different social media accounts of the creatives that were involved in that. And then later on, the Miss Earth will going to upload all of these glam shots on the Miss Earth website. And as I was looking at the Miss Earth website, it was updated sometime around earlier this week or late last week. They already have the links on each candidates are now working, where you can click on it, check out their bios, and check out the introductory na mga profiles ng mga candidates. And I think that is a very smart move, as we now are nearing closer towards the end of the competition. As I am seeing the Miss Earth activities now, there is a balance between the more Miss Earth na mga activities that are leaning towards environment protection, environmental awareness trainings and seminars, tree planting activities, more environmentally leaning activities, as well as there are also activities where the girls are allowed to become tourists, are allowed to enjoy the culinary, the culture, and the tourism sites that the host country, which is Vietnam, has to offer. I think ultimately, ito yung perfect balance that we have been clamoring for Miss Earth, na balansehin, na may glamour pero hindi rin naman totally neglected yung aspeto where there is more earth-friendly activities, more aligned with the Miss Earth ethos. So, yung kinatutuwa siguro ng karamihan sa atin is that there is a balance of both, na hindi kapos sa isa. And this has been something that we have been clamoring as fans, that we've been pushing, asking for the Miss Earth to give us. And now that we are seeing the everyday activities of the girls, the Miss Earth na Facebook page and Instagram page are very much, how to say this, updated with what's going on. They've pretty much been very active on that aspect. So I think that now, there's a lot of things in terms of content with Miss Earth happening in Vietnam. And I think bawat vlogger, bawat content creator, bawat influencer are very much happy with what's going on because there is content to be consumed and there is content to be shared. And this is, something that we all are like begging for Miss Earth to do. And I'm kind of ecstatic and glad that pinagbibigyan nila tayo ngayon on that aspect. So ultimately, when it comes to the Miss Earth activities this year, I think that this is so far the most balanced and the most satisfactory in terms of the equal parts glam and equal parts very advocacy driven na mga activities ng Miss Earth. I think moving forward, if they are able to maintain this kind of hosting up until the end on the 22nd, I would think that the Miss Earth 2023 hosting in Vietnam will be the benchmark for future Miss Earth pageants to live up to. And whether it comes to whether the Miss Earth in next year goes to a different country or comes back to the Philippines, the Carousel and the Miss Earth organization and Carousel Productions would really need to make sure that they maintain that kind of level of activity for Miss Earth. Something that is both glamorous at the same time, hindi rin nagpapabaya on the advocacy na part. Okay? Now, nasaan ba tayo sa mga comments? Okay. Rodvin Fiel. Balik tayo sa mga comments. Okay? Rodvin Fiel says, ang maganda sa Miss Earth this time, walang expectations ang mga tao sa staging nila. Tama ka po, sir. Ilang editions na super low ang production value nila. They can redeem the ME brand time or melang. Okay. I think siguro dahil nasanay ang mga fans, especially Filipino fans and Asian fans and Latino fans, that yung expectation natin on the production is so high to the levels of the Miss Universe, the supranational, the MGIs. Tingin natin laging kapos ang Miss Earth. However, probably for the Europeans who are not as exposed to pageantry, they might think that the Miss Earth is, the perfect balance of advocacy and glam. But now, because we are being treated in this kind of very extravagant, very well-prepared na activity that balances the need to have both the glam and the need to be on brand with the advocacy activities ng Miss Earth. I think ngayon nakikita natin na pwede naman pala, kaya naman pala na balansehin yung mga aspetong ito for Miss Earth. Kasi right now, I feel that if Miss Earth is able to, establish this as a precedent, then it is possible to find the formula of what Vietnam is doing and have it applied on every different na mga editions of Miss Earth later on. I think that if magawan ng carousel na ganito pala ang pwedeng gawin on the glam side, then we need to partner with, let's say, Ever Bilena to have a glam shot shoots on the swimwear and the evening gown para meron tayong glam factor na pwedeng gawin. And then they can partner with a hotel, a local hotel, for, let's say, the sashing ceremony in, let's say, their out of town na mga trips. Like for example, they can do the sashing ceremony in Baguio City, and then the swimsuit competition in Cebu, and then maybe the evening gown competition in Davao. So, kumbaga, ngayon pa lang, because the Vietnamese team have established na pwede pa lang ganito ang gawin for the staging of the Miss Earth pageant, I think pwede nang ikahon ito ng Carousel Productions and have it replicated in future editions. So, very promising yung future ng Miss Earth if they are able to maximize this a little bit later on. Okay, Travel Junkie says, I'm hoping Miss Earth will be able to execute an awesome show. Promising po yung planned production. I am keeping my fingers crossed on that as well kasi I think Miss Earth, tulad ng nasabi ni The Sovereign, I think in one of her live stream or one of her YouTube episodes, she mentioned that Miss Earth is the least questionable. Wait, no, that's not the right word that she mentioned. The least problematic among all the four alpha pageants. So I think that in the event that magkaroon ng staging in the future outside of the country, pwedeng gamitin ng Miss Earth yung mga natutunan nila ngayon in order for them to be able to execute those plans in other countries or in the Philippines. I also think that being the least problematic, I think mas madaling itawid yung bigger na pageant community ng Miss Earth to gather more people, to be more involved with the Miss Earth pageant if they are able to replicate on each country outside of the Philippines yung community building na ginagawa ng Carousel Productions. I think ultimately, Carousel understands that the community is on social, not on the traditional media. So, if kaya tong i-replicate ng Thailand, ng Venezuela, ng Colombia, ng USA, ng Canada, ng European countries, then unti-unting magi-strengthen yung Miss Earth brand in a global scale. So, hopefully, magkaroon ng mga ganitong pocket communities per country so that mas strengthen palalo yung Miss Earth brand. Okay, Saldi Salen says, good PM Sir Jess, this could be the best Miss Earth stage in years. Let's see what they have to offer in the presentation night. Sana yung production mag-level up, especially the lighting and camera angles. I am hoping for that as well, and I am also hoping na yung translation mas maayos, because I think yun yung nakikita kong problem sa Vietnam when they're hosting pageants. So, yun lang yung medyo, sana kumuha sila ng host that is fluent in English, and a local host who can speak in Vietnamese, but can also converse in English, so that there is, a synergy between the two hosts. I hope that they get someone local, but at the same time, they get someone from the Philippines as a host, so that there is, interaction in English when the finals night happens. If in case na kailangan may interaction between the two hosts, maganda yung there is a commonality that they can speak in English so that they can converse. And then, I also think that In terms of the glam that we've been seeing so far, I think consistent naman ang Vietnam. So, ang gusto ko lang makita later on is, will it translate during the finals? Because, syempre, if hindi siya mag-translate ng maayos, then it might not be, it might, it might be a, what do you call this? It might be a downfall in terms of energy if hindi nila ma-maintain. But I am keeping my fingers crossed na kaya nilang itawid dahil when Vietnam hosts naman mga pageants, they usually are very much, all out in terms of the production. So I am hoping na yung production, the way that they do their production is something that is having the international audience in mind as well, at hindi pwedeng very local yung mindset when it comes to the staging. I remember na there was a time for was it Mr. and Miss Supranational na masyadong concert, masyado yung nangyari dun sa mga pageants na ito, that it was okay for the local audiences in Poland, but if you're going to look at it from the perspective of an international audience, masyadong maraming kantahan. And I think that's also the same problem that we had with Miss Globe at some point, na masyadong maraming performers instead of let the girls have their moment on stage. So I think in terms of the final na production, I am keeping my fingers crossed, because what I am hoping and expecting to happen is that there is a balance of local flavor as well as international appeal in terms of the presentation of the entire entire pageant. And tama ka din, Saldi, because yung lighting, I think there are lighting kasi on stage na kapag masyadong backlit yung mga lighting, nagmumukhang madilim kahit na maliwanag. So I do hope na in terms of lighting, mas marami yung going nakaharap papuntang stage rather than from the stage to the audience. And also tama ka din dun sa camera angles. I'm hoping na mas smooth yung camera angles and camera panning. Okay, ayan, dami na natin na pag-usapan. We're just 30 minutes into the Miss Earth updates. Now, I just wanted to discuss a little bit on the Miss Earth na updates with regards to the schedules. Kasi as of December 10, ang Miss Earth nag-post na naman ng panibagong schedule. I know that this is like the third time that they've posted an updated na schedule. So I do hope that this is the final one, because we're already like halfway through the competition, and we don't want, another major change in the schedules to happen, because it kind of throws off some of the girls in terms of their wardrobe, in terms of their preparations, mental preparations for the activities. And the two ones that I actually wanted to highlight is yung their schedules on December 13, which is the talent competition as well as the eco project presentation. I'm hoping that the girls who opted to perform on the talent be given a good stage spotlight, so that hindi naman mukhang audition lang yung talent portion. I remember Binibining Pilipinas, whenever they do the talent competition, they would always have it in a separate na event, and lately in the past 2-3 years, the talent competition is no longer in a mall but rather in the Kia Theater, the former Kia Theater, which is now called the New Frontier Theater, to give the candidates, the spotlight and the stage for their performances. And then on December 16, they will be having their preliminary swimsuit competition as well as the national costume competition. This is what I am excited for, because I wanted to know and to know who is the one who is actually very smooth, very good very graceful in their stage walk, kung sino yung may magandang pasarela, sino yung strong yung tawag ito, yung presentation skills. Because let's not forget, yes, Miss Earth is very advocacy driven, but let's not forget that this is still a pageant and there is a competition aspect to every pageant. And I think if we are going to look at Miss Earth and the flow of the entire finals night competition, always nauuna yung mga performance and presentation skill-based competition before they get to the speaking competition. So what does this mean? It means that if you make, let's say, if they're going to have a top 20 or top 16 in Miss Earth this year, if you are going into the competition, the finals night, and you are wobbly in the presentation skills, you might make semis, you might make top 20 or top 16 based on your ability to talk and speak. But if you do not perform during the swimsuit and evening gown rounds, and you don't perform well, and there are other girls who are outperforming you in every aspect, in the presentation skills aspect of the competition, you will get left behind. And I think this is why the preliminary competition on the swimsuit, the evening gown, and the national costume show would tell us who are the girls who have strong presentation skills. So, girls and their national directors, whoever is watching right this moment, please make sure that you train your girls not only to be able to speak but also to perform on stage. It cannot be one or the other. It has to be a balance of both, because Miss Earth, yes, Miss Earth is very much, attuned in looking for girls who can speak, but the finals night also needs to be considered, because girls needs to perform on the swimsuit and the evening gown competition before they even get to the speaking rounds. So please make sure you are prepared to kill it on every aspect of the competition, because this thought that if you are smart and you can talk and you can communicate, that's the end all be all at Miss Earth. Let's not fool ourselves that is the only thing that Miss Earth is looking for. Okay, yes, attitude matters, ability to speak matters, but also in the finals night, presentation skills also matter. Okay, then they just announced earlier via the Miss Earth Vietnam page who are the 5 best in appearance. In the 5 best in appearance, the one, if I'm not mistaken, the one who has the highest votes will automatically make it into the semis. Okay, so, and I'm not surprised with the turnaround of the votes, because all Asians made top 5. The girls that entered into the top 5 all come from vote-rich countries, which means that these are the girls from Mongolia, Vietnam, the Philippines, Myanmar, and Cambodia. What I am surprised is Thailand not making it into the top 5 of the voting, or Indonesia, because these 2 countries are actually one of the more energetic when it comes to online voting. Siguro, my read on this is actually that perhaps these are the pageant communities, the countries, pageant countries that are not heavily invested on Miss Earth. So let that sink in for a moment. So anong ibig sabihin nito? It means that hindi pa established yung mga Miss Earth communities dito sa mga countries na ito. So we might need to be more friendly in order for us to conquer, and in order for us to have more fans from these countries to support the Miss Earth organization. Looking at the best appearance, I think the Philippines, si Yana Aduana can what do you call this? Can enter the semifinalists on merit alone. So I do hope na tawag ito na hindi siya yung mabigyan ng best appearance na award, because I'd rather have that reserved and be given to Vietnam, because when I was able to communicate with Yana before she left for Miss Earth earlier in around November, nakitaan ko na kayang-kaya ni Yana na pumasok ng semis, na pumasok ng top 8, pumasok ng top 4 on pure merit alone. And for those na who are interested, I am typing on the what do you call this? On the chat box yung interview ko with Yana. Okay? Excuse me. There. So I hope na for those who are interested later on, you can just click on the link and go check it out. Dahil I think pag nakita nyo kung paano magsalita si Yana, makikitaan niya na kaya nating kaya niyang ipanalo yung laban sa Vietnam. Okay? Now, that being said, excuse me, I think that if the choice were up to me, I do hope that Vietnam wins the best appearance and makes it into the semis this year, because I think if you look at videos of Miss Vietnam, she actually is one of those girls who can speak really well and who is, you know, very strong in terms of her communication skills. So I am hoping that we would see Vietnam and several other girls who are very well-spoken to make it into the top 20 or top 16 to the circle of semifinalists later in December 22. I do hope, however, that those who make the semis in the finals on the 22nd are girls who are not only able to speak but also have strong presentation skills. Yun lang ang gusto ko. Gusto ko balance. Hindi pwedeng one-sided lang. Okay? Next, I would also... Nasaan na ba yung ating... Saan na ba ako sa listahan? Okay. There are late arrivals who came in a little bit late around this week lang. Because earlier this year, earlier last month pala, there is an expectation na aabot ang 114 countries yung sasali. So, let's just be clear with that. 114 countries are interested. Okay? There's a distinction between there are 117 countries participating versus 114 pala, not 17. 114 candidates that are interested, or countries that are interested to join Miss Earth. Earlier, yung final na bilang ng candidates is expected at around 83 to 85 candidates this year. And late na dumating sina Miss Zambia and Sierra Leone. I think Sierra Leone arrived maybe a day or two earlier than Zambia, who arrived at around last week ng was it Tuesday or Wednesday. So late silang dumating kaya hindi sila nakapag-participate doon sa kanilang sashing ceremony, doon sa preliminary na evening gown na competition. However, I've seen some clips on Facebook that nabibigyan yata ng special consideration yung mga late arrivals. So they already had their scheduled na photo shoot in their swimwear and evening gown. So I think Miss Earth is going to be very fair that they are given special consideration. Because hindi ganun kabilis kumuha ng mga visas, mga transit visas. especially if you're coming from Africa. So yun yung challenge parate, and this is not something that is new because even in Miss Universe, nangyayari ito because of yung higpit, yung very strict na measures that countries have on African countries in terms of travel visa. Okay? But the good thing is, I think magkakaroon ng special consideration for these girls that came in late. I don't have any idea on Panama if she was able to secure a transit visa because she needs to go through either Taiwan or Korea. I'm not sure which one of those two before she is able to fly through a connecting flight to Vietnam. So I'm gonna check that out a little bit later on because I just noticed na wala pa si Panama doon sa nakita kong dumating sa Vietnam. Okay? So far, those are the updates on the Miss Earth na pageant. I am hoping na as the days go by, mas marami pa tayong malalaman about the pageant, the stage design, the production, the hosts, as we move closer towards the end of the competition. Now, sino ngayon yung mga candidates na umaangat sa listahan ko in terms of what do you call this? In terms of the ones who are starting to step up and become front runners in the competition. Okay, so sandali lang, bubuksan ko yung aking list because my list is in a different tab. Some of the discussion points I actually wrote on my notebook. Kaya ayan, kita nyo naman yung notebook ko parating puno, and some I actually noted on my notes dito sa laptop. Okay. So, doon sa mga heavy hitters, some of the girls that I am looking out who I believe are stepping up in terms of the competition. One of the ladies na is starting to creep up on my list is actually Miss South Africa, Belinda Schroeder. I think she is starting to get it right on the styling department. Lately, I think her makeup is on point, her styling is on point. So I am seeing her improving day in and day out. Another girl who is actually starting to impress me is Miss Brazil, Morgana Carlos. I think that she is slowly but surely creeping up the list. She was not on my initial 12 list of ladies to look out for when I did my live stream last week, Saturday of last week. But now, unti-unti na siyang nagpapakitang gilas. Of course, also on the list is Yana Aduana, Miss Philippines. I think it does, how to say this, it does become an advantage yung paminsan-minsan maging pabibo ka din, because I think Yana is consistent in terms of her outings. Hindi siya mukhang kulas. She doesn't look like her makeup's gonna fall off. She always looks fresh, glowing, and I think the beautiful thing about Yana is that when I was talking to her, I was asking her kung does she experience breakouts. And sabi niya, she's not prone to breakouts, and kung meron man, paisa-isa lang. And I think that's a good thing, especially if you're competing in a pageant like Miss Earth, dahil you need to, to always look always at your best. And I think Yana, wala kang nakikitang photos. You don't see any photo of Yana that looks like she's having breakouts or that she has bad skin. And I think this is going to be an asset for Yana. Also, stepping up in the competition is Miss Poland. I think it's no, it's no surprise that Poland is consistently photographed well because she has a very photogenic face. She has that evergreen Edimar, appeal to her. Very pale skin, very piercing eyes, and very dark hair. She's raven haired, so you really see, like a Snow White beauty contrast with her kind of beauty. And then I think in terms of another European who's also actually doing well so far in the competition is Netherlands. I think Noah Kloss is gonna break into the top 4 this year. For now, that's my feeling. I think that Noah Kloss is one of those girls that is consistently delivering in terms of looks. She never takes a bad photo, whether if she's in jeans or whether she's glammed up. She always looks, very gorgeous, very diosa in her images. So I think if she is able to maintain, that kind of freshness, that kind of glow in her throughout the entire competition, I think this might be the year that after consistently placing in the top 8, Netherlands might be seeing itself back in the top 4 of the pageant. Okay? Of course, among the Latinas, Luz Adriana Lopez of Colombia is, consistently there. I think she might replicate Andrea Aguilera's, top 4 placement in Miss Earth again this year. And the beauty with Adriana is that she is a environmental engineer. So when it comes to resume, she has something to offer. Okay. Another girl that I am looking forward into the competition is slowly, but consistently stepping up. She's actually what I consider as probably the silent killer in this year's batch is Miss Puerto Rico, Victoria Arocho. And this lady, you gotta watch out for her because I feel na hindi pa ito yung pinaka striking point niya. I think she's reserving her energies on the areas of the competition that matters. And again, it also, pays that she is a KF trained beauty na ang dami nang na-produce na Miss Earth winners throughout the years. So, if we see another Puerto Rican win Miss Earth, that is because may konting gamay ang Pilipinas sa pagkapanalo niya. Okay? So far, those are the girls that are doing well from what I see. I also want to add in that list si Albania, si Drita Ziri. Tama ba? Did I say her name correctly? I think because of her youth, pwede pa siyang pahinugin sana. She's only, I think, 19 or 20 years old. So, in terms of yung experience, I do hope that she's able to communicate well and perform on stage well. I think a semi-finalist placement is, is easily achievable for her. But making it into the top 4, marami siyang patutumbahin along the way. So I am hoping na she has the technical skills and the communication skills to fare better than her competitors. Kasi I think in terms of looks, in terms of facial beauty, Europe is bringing it heavy on in this year's competition. But I will not discount the fact that pwedeng makasungkit ang Latina in terms of a win. I think there will be maybe 1 or 2 Asians in the top 4. However, the top 4 is going to be a very narrow what do you call this? A very narrow spot to get into. So perhaps one right now, as of this moment, I feel that maybe one Asian, one or two Europeans, or one or two Latinas is going to make it into the top 4. I am hoping that Africa would rally behind and really give a strong representation at Miss Earth this year, because ideally for me, my perfect scenario for Miss Earth this year would be there's one African, one Asian, one European, and one Latina at the elemental court this year. So I am hoping for that, but I cannot discount that Europe and the Latinas are coming in strong this year. Ang dami ko nang dinaldal. Okay. So, ano muna ako? Higop muna ako ng kape kasi ang dami ko nang naubos na laway. Okay? Please do comment if there's something that you want to for me to discuss, because after this, I want now to move over to a different topic. After the Miss Earth na updates, let's move on to Miss Venezuela and what's going on with the lawsuits with regards to JKN Global. Okay. So, hinga. Okay, let's now talk about before we begin, we start that conversation pala, let's just check in muna doon sa poll natin. Kasi right now, overwhelming na yes, happy and satisfied kayong lahat dito sa proceedings, dito sa nagaganap with Miss Earth in Vietnam. I am very glad that you're satisfied with what we've been seeing, because I think Miss Earth and the Miss Earth organization, Carousel Productions, as well as their Vietnamese partner, which is TNA Entertainment, is doing very, very well in terms of the pageants activities. So kudos to them. Great job so far. There are only a handful, a small percentage, around 6%, who says that they are happy but may kulang pa. So I'm hoping that yung 6% na yon makukuha yung hinahanap nila come finals, because I think the finals is where all of this is going to be wrapped up in a nicely gift wrap ribbon for Christmas. Ayan. So let's now talk about the Miss Venezuela results, because yes, Miss Venezuela is not something that we usually cover. It's not something that we pay too much attention to, but I think this year I want to give a shout out to the Miss Venezuela organization, especially their national directors, Nina Cecilia and Molly Isler, for having a very spectacular set of winners this year. And I think we need to give special attention to Miss Venezuela winners this year, because I think it kind of shows us how the Miss Venezuela organization constantly evolves, and how they constantly, try to improve. Because this year, the winner of the Miss Venezuela pageant is Eliana Marquez, who was Miss Amazonas. She's a 27-year-old single mother who stands 5 foot and 9.5 inches tall. I'm not sure if accurate yung 5'9.5", okay? So I'll definitely double check that. Who has a 11-year-old daughter. Just after the announcement that married moms are now allowed in Miss Universe, now we see Miss Venezuela crowning a single mother, to compete in Miss Universe next year. And learning from what they've seen so far at Miss Universe, they got someone who has pretty much looks like a cross between Shanice Palacios, the reigning Miss Universe, as well as Amanda Dudamel, who was first runner-up in 2022. So I think they are able to find someone who has, a story to tell, someone who has a great personality, someone who is very physically stunning, uh, and someone who is still transformable in terms of physical looks. So I think in terms of timing, they had the perfect timing because Miss Universe had shown in the recent edition that they're open to diversity, and the things that they allowed when they opened up, age restrictions, the transgenders to be able to compete, mothers and married women to be able to compete. Lahat ng yon made semis into in the competition last month in the Miss Universe in El Salvador. And it also happened that the one who went furthest among the plus size women, among the diversity na mga girls in the semifinalists is Camila Avella, who is a married mom. So I think Venezuela picking up into that position is now able to leverage their next pageant journey so that they can achieve much better or achieve higher into the competition. So kudos for that, to be very welcome to change, and then leveraging all of these changes into their selection of the next Miss Venezuela who will compete at Miss Universe. Then also, if you haven't noticed, wala sa top 5, the announcement of the Miss Venezuela International happened before they announced the actual winners of the Miss Venezuela competition. Sakura Guerrero was named before the runners-up, and the Miss Venezuela was crowned. And that, I think, is a sneaky way for Venezuela to be able to select a Miss International representative, at the same time following the rules that there should only be the main winner, one winner to be competing at Miss Universe. So that was a sneaky way for me, but if it works, it works, because that's the same what do you call this, that's the thing that would make them least questionable later on when it comes to the one title only, in terms of the pronouncement from Kun An last year, or earlier this year, earlier this year pala, with regards to just one title for a national pageant. Okay, and the interesting thing there is that the one that they crowned for Miss International for 2024 is a Morena girl. They're not crowning another Andrea Rubio, another Miss International prototype. So which gives me the notion that Miss International might be looking for someone who is from a diverse background for next year. So I am hoping that that will materialize, because right now Venezuela is sending 2 Morena beauties to compete at Miss International next year. So I do hope that other countries will follow suit, and if they follow suit, they select someone that is, worthy of the title. I do hope, however, that Miss International will be more open to women of color, and finally crown, a girl who is not your typical doll-like porcelain mestiza beauty that I have been crowning for the last several years. So I think Miss International needs to start breaking outside of their Miss International prototype. Okay, but what am I trying to point out here with the winners of the Miss Venezuela competition? I think that the thing that we can learn, the Filipino pageant fans and the Philippines as a whole, including the pageant organizations handling international franchises is that we need to start embracing change. We need to start to be more accepting of the changes that is happening in the pageantry landscape, because other countries are starting to open up. And I do hope that in the future, we come to the point where failure to make semis, to make top 10, to make top 5, to win the crown does not automatically equate us to be defeatish and wallow on our defeat. I think that we should easily pick up, move on, and check where we can improve so that we can do better next year. I think that is the lesson that we can learn from Venezuela this year, because after making top 10, they're not, how to say this, they're not shackled by their performance in Miss Universe. They didn't make top 10, then it's fine with them. We move on. We have a pageant in December. Let's find someone who can level up our pageant campaign for Miss Universe next year in Mexico. That's exactly what they did. They didn't wallow with just making top 10, and they did not even become boastful with a Miss International win. Instead, they had to focus on what's next. These are the results. We didn't make top 5 in Miss Universe. That's okay. Let's move on. In Miss Venezuela, let's find someone that the Miss Universe organization might love for next year. With Miss International, let's listen to the Miss International organization wanting to be more diverse. So let's crown, a Morena beauty for Miss International next year. I think that kind of mindset separates the Venezuelans versus the Filipinos in terms of how they move past results that are either into their liking or not into their liking. They are, immediately able to move past what needs to be done. They are able to move past doon sa results and gather immediately what needs to be prepared, what needs to be accomplished in order for them to have a successful run next year. So I do hope that Filipinos can learn from them, that they can easily move on from the results of the international competitions this year, so that they can focus their energies for what they need to accomplish for next year. So I think in terms of being able to accept defeat, accept victory, that is something that Venezuelans are able to master na on our end. I think kinakailangan pa natin na pag-aralan. I think the fact that Venezuela has been winning for the last 20-30 years made them more resilient when defeat comes their way. It also made them stronger when victory comes their way. So I think with us our winning streak only started in 2010. Marami pa tayong kakaining bigas in terms of yung attitude, in terms of yung fortitude, yung mental fortitude ng mga pageant organizations and mga pageant fans in Venezuela. So I do hope we get to that point that we can mature quickly, because that is something that we all admire with Venezuela. Okay? Now, let's now discuss yung pinaka-controversial na nangyayari sa mundo ng Miss Universe pageants. Okay, so before we go to that part, as a treat for everyone who's here sa live stream natin ngayon, I'm gonna type yung isang link dito where you can read some chichi with what's going on sa isa sa mga favorite nating pageant. Okay? So, give me give me a minute. Okay. So, there. It's already appearing on my screen. So, everyone, kung gusto nyong magbasa ng patsaa, pasensya na, medyo pahirapan na naman tayong magbasa nitong tsaa na to. I do hope na you have the patience to read through and be able to decipher what's going on. Okay? So, special treat ko yan for those who are here sa live stream natin ngayon. And now, let's go to our topic with regards to the JKN versus TCG na lawsuit. So, saan nagsimula lahat ito? It all started with the Miss Universe coin that was that was launched here at the Philippine Blockchain Week. It spiraled, say, with Miss Universe organization saying that they are not affiliated with the MU coin, and then yung nag-develop, which is TCG Social Group, suddenly said na there was a memorandum of understanding na magkakaroon ng ganitong Miss Universe coin in the future. So ngayon, dahil hindi natuloy yung MU coin, nagkaroon ngayon ng demandahan. TCG social media group, nagsampa ng kaso, filed a lawsuit that is worth 1.3 billion baht, if I'm not mistaken, against the JKN Global Group of Miss Anne Jakarjutatip for libel and defamation. Essentially, pinapalabas ng TCG na because of the lies that supposedly walang kinalaman yung Miss Universe organization doon sa dine-develop na Miss Universe coin, nawalan sila ng income, nagkaroon ng ill repute na nangyari on the TCG social media group because of that lie. Kaya ngayon, sila naman ang nagsasampa ng kaso. They're the ones who are filing the lawsuit for defamation and libel. Now, lately, the tricky thing about that is that they revealed that before the Miss Universe pageant came into place. And then, after the Miss Universe competition has been done, I'm sure Kun-an had time to prepare for the lawsuit. So, now, what she did was to counter-file a lawsuit against TCG worth 1.5 billion Thai baht, saying that there is no legal binding contract with TCG and that there is only a memorandum of understanding, which is far off from an actual legal contract that says na merong legal na pinaghahawakan ang TCG on JKN Group. And all of this, back and forth of these lawsuits and counter lawsuits, I think it might just end up being settled out of court, because from my perspective, both business entities have more to lose than gain if they pursue this entire legal battle. And let's look at it first from the perspective of JKN. I think that they have the advantage in this lawsuit because an MOU, or a memorandum of understanding, is not equal to a legal binding contract. The contract stipulates all of the parameters of the agreement, of the business deal. It tells the who, what, why, and how. It answers the how much. It answers the until when. It answers who will develop, where it will be developed, where it will be applied, etc. Unfortunately, with the memorandum of understanding, that is between the two parties. The memorandum of understanding is not a legal binding contract that is only going to be we made an agreement that we will move forward into a business deal in the future, and all of the smaller details needs to be arranged before they arrive into an actual contract. So that lies the difference. If ang pinanghahawakan ni TCG is a memorandum of understanding, that might not stand in court because a legal contract answers everything to the smallest detail. Kung gaano kalaki, kaliit, gaano katagal, kaiksi yung kontrata. So that in itself is the advantage of JKN. However, their disadvantage is that they are also currently undergoing business rehabilitation in terms of their debts. So their debt rehabilitation application on 5 courts is also undergoing. So which means that they don't have all the energies, to focus on different things all at the same time. They have an organization to run. They have to deal with, debtors that is knocking on their doors. They need to be paid. They need to be able to fight this legal battle with TCG, and at the same time make sure that all operations are still on float on the different businesses that they have. So I think it will be a waste of time and energy for JKN to continue with this lawsuit. On the other hand, TCG, they have more to lose because if JKN Global has the upper hand on the memorandum of understanding that it's not a legally binding contract, then they have more to lose because they're going to pay JKN 1.5 billion back, and instead of gaining back 1.3. So imagine if JKN Global wins by default of the MUO, mangyayari nito, baka yung pinanghabla ni TCG, siya pa yung gagamitin ni JKN para makapagbayad ng mga utang niya doon sa mga debtors niya. So I think the best case scenario that these parties can do is sit down, mediate, settle. I think this is the best case scenario for both parties because I think JKN might have the upper hand because of the MUO being not legally binding as compared to a contract. But again, JKN needs to focus on keeping their businesses afloat, especially with what's going on with their debt rehabilitation programs that they need to be on top of. So on my end, I think the best case scenario is for these two entities to settle it out of court and have a mediator present so that everyone comes out of the negotiation table as a winner. So win-win situation on both ends. I do hope that hindi natin sausawan ito because this is something that pageant fans have very little information on, the understanding between what's on the memorandum of agreement, of understanding. So I think before we all jump into conclusions that magsasaka na ang JKN, there are different issues that JKN Global is currently having. Separate, I think, yung issue of the lawsuits versus their debt rehabilitation and rumors of bankruptcy. So I think ultimately, if we're going to look at this, we have to separate all those stuff. Now, with that being said, the lawsuits is between JKN and TCG. I think that they should settle. They should settle and use a mediator to get into agreement that is both satisfying for both parties. The second thing is for JKN Global to focus on their debt rehabilitation so that they are afloat for the next several years. If the courts grant the debt rehabilitation plan that JKN is having, JKN Global is having, then we're safe to assume that Miss Universe organization is not going to be affected by this situation. So I think in terms of that, I think the Miss Universe is safe for maybe another year under the JKN Global Group. Now, there is also another issue, and this time it's a personal issue of Kun An versus Princess Samira. Princess Samira has posted something that is very shady on her IG stories during the Miss Universe season, that now JKN, Kun An, sorry, not JKN, Kun An is now calling her out on and threatening legal issues on that. The thing about that is because of how shady the posts are, the screenshots are, pwedeng ihabla ni Kun An si Samira ng defamation on court. So I think this should have been dealt with in a, because this is a delicate personal matter. I think this should have been dealt with by both parties, you know, outside of social media, because it does not bode well on the image of both ladies. One is that Princess Samira, you know, is a judge during the Miss Universe Thailand or Voice of Change na challenge under the last Miss Universe edition. It does not present her as a professional na character. It does not look good when you have that much power and you do this shady stuff. And it's not helping your image because it only shows that you're, you know, that, tagalugin ko na lang, hindi magandang tignan kasi nagmumukha kang childish. Nagmumukha kang unprofessional. Kumbaga, ang nangyayari dito, imbes na naka-build up ka ng pangalan mo, parang nakasira patuloy ng professional image mo. Kasi ngayon, ang ginagawa ni Kun An is kino-call out niya si Princess Samira na, ano bang na-accomplish mo? What have you accomplished personally? Aside from the fact na ipinanganak kang mayaman, well, you have nothing else to show up for it. I think that is essentially yung patutsada ngayon ni Kun An doon kay Princess Samira, which is not incorrect on Kun An's part, because Kun An, even if, you know, her family came from a business family, yung pinanggalingan niya, ginapang niya what she has right now. So she built, you know, her own conglomerate, as compared to Princess Samira na anak bilyonaryo ng isang businessman na taga-India daw. Walang maipakitang na personal accomplishment si Princess Samira as compared to Kun An. So I think on both sides, they should have just taken this to court instead of, magpastutsadahan sila sa social media. But the problem here is that Princess Samira started firing the shots first. And I understand that Kun An is now at a point where she's not gonna take it all lying back. So she might, she might follow through with her threats na magkita tayo sa korte. So I think in terms, in terms of yung awayan nila, ang babaw. Kasi kung hindi inumpisahan ni Princess Samira, then hindi sana magkakaroon ng ganitong issue ngayon. I think ultimately dahil nanguna itong si Princess Samira na maging asar, namang asar, sorry. I think it all falls down to her intention. What was her intention in having all of this shady stuff? And why did she post all of these shady things? So ultimately, I think Kun An, if she retaliates, that's that's understandable because she's not the first one to fire the first shot, kumbaga. So I think that this awayan could have been avoided. If I were Kun An, I would have just taken this to court instead of taken it into social media. So yun yung gusto kong sana nangyari. But now that it's out in the open, I'm sure pagpepiestahan yan ng lahat ng mga tao, ng mga fans, ng mga pageant pages, ng mga pageant vloggers. And I do hope that even if we take on yung these issues nung dalawang personalities, wag naman sana nating pagpiestahan na gawin siya out of spite. I think we have to handle this with delicacy, handle it with maturity, because from the looks of it, the two persons involved are looking like they're very immature to have a fight on social media. So I think ultimately, if it were up to me, mas magandang response ni Kun An is to just see you in court, and that's it. Hindi na siya nagpatsutsada pa. Okay? Now, last thing, I'm sure na meron din magtatanong sa inyo later on, sir, ano nang nangyari doon kay Lupita? Okay, so I think the latest update on that is that Lupita is taking on Miss Grand International as a replacement for Miss Universe. Sa akin, I think that is it smells like it's a retaliatory move to spite the Miss Universe organization. But if we're being honest, Miss Universe is Miss Universe. No matter how much we play on Miss Grand International, malayong malayo. There's a far distance between the respect, between the showmanship, between the glamour that we associate with Miss Universe versus Miss Grand International. So that's the last thing that I'm going to talk about that, because honestly, I'm not a fan of that Thai-owned na pageant. I think pagod na rin tayo mga Filipino na umintindi doon sa MGI na family. Bahala na silang mag-circusan doon sa MGI na yan. Basta tayo, masaya tayo doon sa nangyayari ngayon sa Miss Earth. Okay? So, as we end the poll, let's now see kung ano yung total na results. Okay, 96% is saying, oh, no. Tama, it's 96%. Is saying na happy and satisfied kayong lahat sa Miss Earth na proceedings in Vietnam. And then, not so happy, not so satisfied is around 4%, which is a very small na percentage. And I'm happy to say na walang nag-vote na not happy at all. So I am very glad with that. Thank you very much for participating in our poll this evening. Now, just to close out our discussion for this live stream, I think that the Miss Earth is doing a great job. So we're just we're just pacing ourselves in terms of the events, in terms of the updates, kasi there's nothing na pwede nating maipinta so far with how the pageant is going. And I do hope that as we move closer towards the finals on December 22, mas magkaroon pa ng mga ng clamor, mas magkaroon ng interest ang Miss Earth, not just here in the Philippines but in other countries as well, because I think Miss Earth has a lot of potential to grow big. As I've said earlier nga, nabanggit ni the Sovereign na this is the least problematic out of the 4 alpha pageants. I think we can rest easy that at least this year we now see a benchmark when it comes to how the Miss Earth can be hosted. So I hope that moving forward, the Miss Earth would replicate all of these things that they've been doing in Vietnam in the next future hosting of the pageant, whether it's in the Philippines, in Thailand, or in any other country. I do hope that ultimately itong benchmark na to masustain ng Miss Earth throughout the years to come. Okay? Pahabol. Narsby is here, nakaabot sa live. Mag-team replay na lang ako. Yes, thank you, Narsby. Thank you very much for making habol dito sa ating live stream. Guys, I think we have been talking for the last an hour and 30 minutes. It has been a very entertaining and very happy. I actually am very happy with this live stream dahil hindi siya masyado mabigat. We did a lot of updates with Miss Earth. We did a lot of discussions on the multiple points with regards to the Miss Earth pageant, and I'm very, very happy with what's going on. I do hope na tulad na nabanggit ko earlier when we discussed the results of the Miss Venezuela pageant, that we move forward, whether we win, whether we lose, whether we make top 8, top 5, we make only the semis. We learn from the experience and move quickly forward so that we focus our energies and our frustrations on the results towards a more productive way. And do like what Venezuela did, that yes, they might not make it into the top 5 or top 3 of Miss Universe this year. Okay lang sa kanila. They're moving on with their next queen and preparing her for the challenges up ahead for Miss Universe in Mexico. And in terms of their winning Miss International, they are able to move past that as well and look ahead, plan ahead for the Miss International in 2024, where we think that Miss International is silently giving us hints that they want more diverse candidates to be participating in their pageant. So, in terms, of the JKN issues and JKN versus TCG issues, as I said, I think they just need to settle this out of court para hindi na sila magkaroon ng issues on magkabayaran sila ng pagkalaki-laking pera. Because from my understanding, in terms of US dollars, their lawsuits is between like 40 to 43 million US dollars. So that's kind of a hefty amount to be taking each other to court for, when I think that the best case scenario is for TCG and JKN Global to put this Miss Universe coin controversy into a stop by simply settling this lawsuits out of court through mediation. Now, how are we going to move forward with our coverage with Miss Earth later on? In the next several days leading into the Miss Earth, I will be having an extra live stream coverage to discuss updates on Miss Earth and some pointers that I want to discuss on the Frontrunners later on. I haven't scheduled it yet, so I will be announcing it a little bit later because I think before the finals, kinakailangan meron tayong live stream to discuss what went on doon sa preliminary competition on December 16. And then I will also want to have one last final live stream before the Miss Earth finals on December 22. Okay? That's it. Thank you very much for everyone na jumoin ngayon. Kay maaga, kay late, kay dumating sa gitna ng ating live stream. It is very much appreciated. Thank you very much for joining us in today's live stream. I do hope that you're more participative on our social media channels, whether it's here in YouTube, on Instagram, or on Facebook. Please make sure that before you leave, please leave us a like on this live stream so that it gets pushed to more audiences. And I do hope that for those who are not yet subscribed in our channel, please do subscribe because it helps us so much. Ayan, thank you very much for a very great evening, and I hope to see you in our next live stream. Bye everyone, and take care. Have a great weekdays ahead. Bukas is a Monday, and I do hope we're ready to face another work week ahead. Okay, bye everyone, see you in our next live stream.